Against all odds, the conservative Supreme Court actually smacked down an attempt by the government to fund religious charter schools. Or maybe not smack down. They basically went even 4-4 on it, but I want some good news, and it didn't work, so let's just enjoy it for a second. So it was 4-4. Amy Coney Barrett actually recused herself because she has previously been involved with the educational organization that's involved in this. And look, she recused herself. I wouldn't have expected that. That is good news. She is a religious radical who could have just refused to recuse herself, as others, including Alito, Thomas, have refused to do so even when they have clear biases in a case. But she did actually do so. And so I have no doubt that she's being shredded by the MAGA movement right now. And one conservative joined the liberals. We don't know who. My guess would be Roberts, but I don't know for sure because that hasn't actually been revealed. And if you want to take this not as a great bit of news, but kind of negative that 4 of our Supreme Court justices effectively want to end the separation of church and state, then sure, that is scary. But it is good that as of right now, it isn't gonna, the block that had been set up to stop the funding for this religious charter school is not gonna be overturned. Now, unfortunately, because they didn't actually rule against it, it hasn't set any sort of lingering precedent that you can't do this, and they could pick it up in the future. But with the sort of the baseline of this being set, Daria, I'm very curious about you have the legal background. What do you make of what the Supreme Court has done here?
Definitely. So Oklahoma's own AG is the one who sued to block this. So he created sort of an intra-party constitutional crisis that's been splitting the conservative legal movement. You've got the religious liberty abolitionists on one side and the state sovereignty purists on the other side, and they're both trying to defend these conservative principles, but also like suing each other to oblivion. And to your point, I think they didn't really count the chess piece of Amy Coney Barrett coming into here, because obviously she has ties to Notre Dame and the Religious Liberty Clinic, and they were both kind of catastrophic here. So someone at ADF should have really played the war game better and gotten their legal strategy together so they could have counted the votes properly, because what we're left with now is just sort of like a hung jury. We have 4 and 4. So this issue could come up again. We're pretty much in a deadlock. I would guess it was probably either Gorsuch or Roberts who sided with the liberals. And the Roberts court has continued to play this sort of game of, are we gonna stay legitimate? Are we gonna not? And they live to fight another day, I guess.
Yeah, so I think you're right. I guess that would maybe be, I still think it's probably Roberts based on how some of the voting is going. But you're right. Gorsuch has occasionally differentiated himself. So do you expect this to come back up soon, or like would they be hesitant to try to raise it again so soon after, when maybe they wait like a term? What do you think?
Absolutely. I feel like every education lawyer in America right now is playing like, guess the next case, like who has the best claim to take it up right now. And religious liberty groups are like shopping around. They're looking for the perfect plaintiff, where they have to find someone where Amy Coney Barrett has absolutely zero conflicts, so they can get her in on this and present it in a way that's she's gonna be the deciding vote basically. So they're gonna have to look for someone who she would like, she'd be sympathetic to. And it's gonna be honestly very lucrative for these constitutional litigators in the years to come.
That's definitely true. There was actually I think 2 episodes of John Oliver ago had to do with some of that stuff. But yeah, look, I understand that it's a complicated legal matter. Some of the religious charter schools say that if there is government money going to these other organizations, why shouldn't they have access to it? And I'm not a believer or whatever, but I'm sympathetic to that. And so I do think that the government should be fair. And so no money should go to any charter schools, secular or religious. How about that? Maybe that'll make it a nice level playing field. And look, I'll end on this. The conservatives think that they're being super clever here, where they're like, hey, how can we help to kill public education? Well, we just siphon off even more of the money to go to charter schools, to go to religious charter schools, and it'd be totally cool. But obviously, if you do that, then you are setting the precedent that other sorts of religious schools could be set up and could receive federal funding. And I know many Republicans would not like to see that. They don't want madrasas being funded by the federal government. That said, the joke is probably on me, because they know that a principle that has been applied that doesn't seem to favor any religion. In practice in America always ends up doing that. But that said, still, this could be a thing that they end up coming to loathe if they do end up succeeding on it.